Welcome to the Work Your Money podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wong.
I'm your co-host, Willie Morales.
Each week, we talk to people, either on the internet, through the phone, or in person.
We try to get the best business minds on this podcast.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe on iTunes, and please enjoy the show.
Have a great guest on. She's a true entrepreneur. She has magazine publications. She's also in media. Her name is Ilene Caroll. Hi, Ilene. How are you? Hi, I'm doing well. Ilene, how did you transition from what you were doing previously to getting into publication? I just started writing. I found that, I picked up a love that I had forgotten about. I used to love to write when I was growing up and had just forgotten about it, but I did it differently. It was, then the computers and the internet were getting popular, and so I was able to do it that way. I started a website, the ilenecaroll.com website, and I met so many different people that had similar stories to tell, and from there it just allowed me to connect with a group of people who we all had income, whether we worked for ourselves or other companies, and we put together a creative team to do annual digital issues for download or print on demand that catered around ALS, the Center for the Walk that they do every year, and to raise money. And so that's how I did that. And then I wanted to branch into full publication where I would do quarterly issues per year. What can you tell me have been some of the, I don't know, because publication is something that it takes there's a lot of research you have to get into to know what you're getting into. Then obviously it's the step to get it in the public, and I know that there's certain steps to it, but overall, what have you learned from starting this publication? Well, basically, my company is an advertising and branding agency. I'm not a publishing company. The magazine is a tool that I have added to my business to be a full-service advertising agency to offer to my clients so that they have an additional way of branding themselves and getting out the word about their service or their product. And so with anything, there's trial and error. I brought on people who were expertise in various fields that had worked with magazines and that sort of thing. And again, I did some journalism coming up. And so we basically, you get a good graphic artist and you visually lay out something that's visually appealing and use the correct software, that standard software that they're using. And finding people, I guess, is easy for me because of my network. My LinkedIn network was so extensive with people that, are doctors or professional athletes, but they were more than willing to share their stories and basically, so for me, the transition wasn't that difficult. There was that time management factor of trying to figure that piece out, and that's some of the things that we'll try to work the kinks out in 2017 as far as getting more organized. But, the magazine for me was a hobby. It's not my company. My company, again, like I said, is advertising and branding agency, but the magazine became a tool for clients to publicize what they were doing. And so it's always been a love for me for doing that, and also the tool to raise money and awareness for ALS. So it was kind of like an easy transition for me. I see. And just getting started overall, did you have any money issues, or how did you get the funding for it? Initially, because I worked for other companies, my background was in operations management for 20 years, and during that time, starting in 1995, I started as a freelance agent, and then from 2004, I set up a corporation as a promotions company, and then 10 years later, I restructured into the advertising and branding agency. So initially, because the companies I worked for paid me very well, there wasn't really any money issues because any money I made from freelancing got put into a separate account that allowed me to start my corporation. Then from there, it was
for whatever reason, I don't know if someone told me about it, but at an early age, I think I was 19, someone told me about credit, and how credit works, because I think at that time I thought, because I had moved out of my parents' home by then, and I had my own things, and I thought it was all about paying everything in cash and up front and getting it over with. And someone told me about, that's not how you do it. You have to actually pay something over a period of time. And so they had me buy something and, pay it over a period of time. Even though I had the money to just keep making these payments. But anyhow, because of that guidance of learning how credit works and having good credit, when the time came to move forward in my company, I was able to partner with my bank, and they gave me financial backing as well as a line of credit.
Okay. Well, at least you got some financial backing on that. Sometimes it's not easy for people that are starting out in a business, especially when they're trying to get into some type of business. I've had some people that have been guests that work a 9 to 5, and then they also have like a side business. I've had other people that transitioned from working a 9 to 5 to being a complete business owner. So there are certain elements, and I guess depending on the type of business that they have, or how and where they're at, there's different, I guess, strategies or different plans that they can map out for to pull through and get started on that particular business. And one of the factors is always the money aspect of things. I think
that always is, and not to cut you off, but I think that the key element there, Nan, that you mentioned that you're saying that, I don't think that there's a right or wrong, because I have read stories about people who, they had corporate America type jobs, and they said, I'm just going to, these two brothers, I'm just going to give it all up, and we're going to go sell neckties, and now they have this like multi-million-dollar company, whereas this is more than neckties now. But I've read so many stories like that where, so I guess, I think the key elements would be, and this is something for all of us, whether we own a business or not, do you know how to handle your personal finances? Do you know how to live on a budget?
Oh, yeah, that's 100%. That's 100% truth. We had one guest previously. She's a bankruptcy attorney. She's also she's like a financial advisor, and what she does is she teaches people how to budget their money, how to save their money and not spend excessively. Because one of the things that most people do is that they like to spend a lot, and what they spend and what they make is two different things. And sometimes you spend more than what you earn. So what she does is she teaches people how to save money correctly and in a smart way. And one of the things that she said was the same thing. It's like you have to know how to be better prepared financially. And once you're better prepared financially and you know how to manage your finances, that's where you would be able to have some type of business. Even if you're doing this on a part-time, you can always save up that money so that you have that there and that you can use it towards growing your business. And not many people know that. I mean, I guess for some it's just a trial and error. It's like they go through the motions and they learn mistakes as they go along, and then from there they
get
gain
frustrated.
they get frustrated. But I would say maybe half of them would kind of throw in the towel. And
that's right. They quit. I'm frustrated. I quit.
Yeah. And then there's
the other. What I'm saying. Those basic skills don't matter. So I don't think it matters. Like how you were saying, if the person has a job and then they do something on the side first, or if they just jump both feet in. I think it's who you are anyway as an individual. Are you good with finance? Are you a planner? Are you organized?
Well, you got to use the resources you have.
My background was operations management, and that's what I got paid to do. So that's why, it was easier for me, I think, to make the transition, because that's what I got. I started out as 19. Somebody made me a manager at 19, and I was very anal about training teams and motivating teams to meet the bottom line, and being organized and having a schedule and meeting financial deadlines and things like that. So, but that's with anybody. Everyday people are struggling with their finances, and I think it's because it's learned behavior maybe, where some people haven't learned that or they haven't been taught that. But you've got to learn to live within your means.
That's 100% accurate.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yep.
I agree with that.
So, Ilene, going back to the digital and the publishing area of your business, do you see any difference between people wanting to have a magazine in their hand or just reading it digitally? Isn't that the way more and more people are going? For me, I like both, but do you have any issues with that?
Repeat that one more time. I'm having trouble hearing the first part of what you asked me. I'm sorry.
Sure. The digital end of the publishing. You got digital and the magazine itself. Do you prefer, or do you have any issues with your customers picking one over the other, or you're pretty much okay with doing both?
I tend to be anal with everything, and so therefore, for me, I don't want to miss out on anything. So therefore, what I've always done is, because we live in that age of everybody's on their phones, you want to make sure that people can see your publication on their phone, but everybody really should be making sure that their websites, whether they have a publication or not, can be viewed on the phone, because I've gone to certain websites now that just aren't viewable, so they're not mobile friendly. And so everyone really should consider that, whether they are digital publication or not, but so that you're not losing an audience, because again, I'm 46 years old, I'll tell my age, and so therefore, the people that I deal with, the women and that kind of thing, they're not stuck on their phones like somebody that's 25. And so, therefore, we do both. We make it mobile friendly to have a digital subscription, but then you can have print on demand, but then you can also subscribe to have a printed copy come to your home. So, I think it just depends on who your target audience is.
And so how do you do that? On your end, how do you pick your target audience?
Well, it's who I want to cater to. Like for the magazine for men, I'm looking to cater to the younger male audience. So for that reason, I make sure that everything is mobile friendly for them, because that's what that particular target audience does. For the women, I'm looking to target more women within my age group, and so I give them a choice. And my network, the people who are signed up on our mailing list, that's how we get our demographics.
Are you just solely working by yourself, or do you have a team of people working with you? How is that? How is that working for you?
My business is set up where I work as a consultant for all the projects that we do, because again, I know you all are talking more about the magazine, but that's just an aspect of my business. My company is an advertising branding agency, and so I do the consultant with our clients. We sit down with them and find out what their specific needs are, whether it's to build an image or something that's not working for them. They want to change the direction that they've gone in their focus. And so I have a creative team that works under my operations manager, and they actually do the hands-on of the project.
Okay. And based on what you see as a consultant, do you see things more in the realm of social media, or more of direct marketing? Like, what is like the type of approach that you use for these particular clients, like for them to be able to have that public recognition?
It depends on the client, their particular business, and their focus. Everything is going towards more social media today, and so sometimes you have to educate the client to do that. And some people don't want to change because they're used to things being a certain way. They want to, advertise in other ways. So basically, again, it's being flexible and open to listen to the client. You can't always push, certain things on them. You have to listen to them and what their vision is, and then present them more than one scenario as to, what they want to follow. For me personally, I think it's social media. But, if I sit down with a client today, they might find that it's something else. They may feel that it's something else. But I just think social media is where we're headed and where we are right now. It is great. It is a great tool. But who's your market and who's your target audience? Now, people my son's age, they don't care about Facebook anymore. They're on other things like Instagram and some other things. Uh-huh. So, but some people my age, they love Facebook. They're on them all day long. So, knowing those things too are helpful because, there are a lot of people who just don't get Twitter. They don't get that. Now, Twitter is my favorite. But it's not the favorite of a lot of people, but it's something that works for me. And you'll see that I have the most followers on Twitter. Whereas if, you look at Instagram or Facebook, it's not so much. But because that's my favorite, Twitter and LinkedIn are my favorite tools to network and do social media. But you still have to know, again, going back to who your target audience is and who uses what predominantly. And like I said, my son's age and his generation is kind of moved away from Facebook. So it wouldn't be advantageous to do a large campaign on Facebook for that age group.
So Ilene, you would target your audience through age brackets. That's how you would do it.
Yes, age brackets. Yes, sir.
Okay. So for me, I'm in my 50s, but I like Facebook, but I'm not much of a Twitter fan, and I like LinkedIn. So how do you target for people over 40?
Again, for me personally, and it's not everyone, I'd have to sit down and talk with you, but based on your age, usually that age group is on Facebook. And so if you're trying to target that age group as well, then, like Michelle was saying, they've got different avenues now where you can go live and do video and things like that. And that seems to be catching on. I see it on my Facebook page and my connections where they're really catching on to that. And a lot of people they love YouTube. I think YouTube is for everyone. So when people start getting into doing videos, I think that's an avenue that everybody can take advantage of. It doesn't matter what age it is at that point, and it goes viral.
Is there anything else that you have going that you want, our listeners to know about or, keep an eye out?
There's a couple of partnerships that I'm checking into with the building of new apps and that kind of thing, but we haven't finalized all that. We're in the testing stages, so maybe the next time around we can talk about that, but I'm kind of excited about that, but I don't have anything to share at the moment. Right now, that's enough for me. I'm pretty busy with running my advertising agency and developing these new magazines, and also with my ALS work too. We're trying to wrap up that year. We're doing something different this year. We're doing auctions, silent auctions, and involving companies and professional athletes are submitting things to donate for the silent auction. So that's kind of nice to end the year out. Yes. Okay. Basically, it's when people donate items instead of you have your public and live auctions. It's not done that way. People will place their bids on a dollar amount on a particular item that they want, and they will take the highest donation from that.
I see.
They do that a lot in charities. They have auctions. For some, it's merchandise. For others, it might be being able to go to a sporting event and meet your favorite, your favorite athlete, or things like that. Uh-huh.
Yes, it is. It's all those combinations of things, and this is new for me as well. They just asked me to do it because they wanted me to get some professional athletes to donate some items, and I'll be experiencing for the first time myself, come the 19th of this month. So I'll tell you how it goes. But I just was a tool to get more athletes to donate some items.
That sounds exciting. I've never been to an auction myself, but I've always heard that the auctions are always a lot of fun, from what I've heard from other people.
Yes, yeah. They did one in another city. They'll just, they're doing it in various cities, and so I'll be partaking in one here where I'm at. But so we'll see how it goes. But they said that it went really well and it was a lot of fun. So they'll probably be doing it next year, which I hope that they will, because then I can get more athletes involved.
Yeah, let us know so we could be there. Especially for me, I'm a big sports fan.
What's is it football or something else?
Well, me, no. I love football and baseball.
You know it's football.
Football and baseball.
No, I don't know what's football. It could be basketball. Is it football?
What do you mean?
Yeah, for him it's football.
For me, it's football or baseball and baseball.
Who's your team?
Oh, I'm a Steelers fan, and I like the Giants and the Jets. But my team plays tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
You're a Steelers fan?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, guess who donated some stuff for me? It was Merrill Hodge.
Really? Oh, I like Merrill Hodge. He's on ESPN. He does, I think, a weekly NFL show. Yeah, Merrill Hodge. I remember him. He was a running back for the Steelers.
That's right. He does. In fact, one of the questions you guys sent me is about books that I've read, and he's one of the books I was going to mention because he sent me a book I've been ill for the past 4 years, actually, and dealing with some personal stuff and everything. So when I had surgery done, I was able to read his book, and it's a very easy read. You would assume that because he's a football player that it's about football, whatever, but it's not. It really is a personal story about personal struggles and how somebody, how you can overcome them and ways that they overcame them, and how, you've got people in place that you don't know that help you overcome these struggles. It's called Find a Way, and it's by Merrill Hodge. It's a really good read. On my website,
that's good to know.
ilenecaroll.com. I'm sorry?
No, I'm saying that's good to know, because, like I said, any books that any Steeler writes, let me know. I'll definitely pick it up.
Well, what I was going to say was on my website, I'm revamping my site, but years ago, I would take books that I read, Yolanda Adams and different people books that I read and that had stories to tell, and I put them on my website for review for other people to go look at. So when I finish revamping my site, this is one of the ones that I'm excited about putting up there, because it's like 200 pages or something like that, but I read it within a weekend. Like, it's such a good read. There's a couple of chapters in there that'll be okay for you, because you love football. I love football too. I grew up watching my father, but it was just a little over my head, the technical part of it. But the rest of the chapters it's just the human factor. It's about, because he had so many different things happen to him that people don't know, and just his attitude. And I guess that's something for all of us to walk away with. It's how you deal with the situation. Things are going to happen to us we have no control over, but I think it's just how we deal with them.
So, Willie, this is your favorite time of the show. You're always talking about books. He does. Listen, I love to read books, but this is his favorite part of the show. He's always discussing about books, and he gets very philosophical too with the books that he's reading. So
because he's not a Twitter fan.
I look at Twitter for like 5 seconds, and I say, you know what?
I'm 50, and I'm not a Twitter fan.
Yeah, I might look at it for like 30 seconds one day, 5 seconds the next. I'm more on LinkedIn and Facebook. But anyway, so Ilene, what are your favorite books, and what are you reading now?
Okay, so I told you my favorite book. I'll tell you my favorite book. Was Find a Way by Merrill Hodge. A reference book, which, again, I'll put up on the website, and this is something my son started. That's how he did his little business on the side. So, and he's 25. But when he read it, he was a teenager. It's called The $100 Startup.
Oh, I heard about that book, yeah.
It's a really good book. It says, reinvent the way you make a living, do what you love, and create a new future. And it's a really good read. And for somebody to be as young as he was and to read it and you make it work. Apparently, I've read through it. I haven't finished it, but I've read through it. But what impressed me is that, we went to this networking event together. What I do with him as a mother, I would take him to different things, photo shoots with different athletes and stuff like that, and let him see things. And so he has like this entrepreneurial mind and so at one of the events we went to, that they had this book there to give out, and he read it, and he did something with it. And so if you have some young listeners on your radio, this might be something that might inspire them to take $100 and invest it in themselves. As far as what I'm reading right now, that would be year-end paperwork is what I'm reading right now. Stuff to get from my accountant, but I hope to get back reading books. I have people sending me books all the time because I love books. My mother, even though she ended up being a nurse, she was an English drama major, and she had us reading really early, the age of 2 and 3. And so that's something that I want to get back into, having books to read. I read books pretty quickly, like within a weekend or so, and then I write about pieces that I found to be inspirational and put them on my website. So anything that's insightful, inspirational, I recommend them. And put a little tab on my, there's a tab that says book on my IleneCaroll.com website where the people can click on, and it'll be what I found, interesting about the book, and then a link to where they can go purchase the book.
Okay.
And any books you're recommending, Willie?
Yeah, I'm recommending 2. Since I know Eileen talked about real estate earlier, right now I'm reading a book called The Art of Owner Financing by Mitch Stephen. Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, he talks about himself being the bank, or real estate investors being the bank. So that's a good book. It's like 50, 60 chapters, but you could probably read it within less than a week. And I'm reading.
Wow.
Yeah, it's to me it's a quick read. I'm gonna read it again because I think I went through it too fast, and yeah, it was so good that I couldn't put it down. So I need to definitely read it again.
Do you have your highlighter? Cause
I got highlighters, folded pages, penned marks.
So good. I take my highlighter and go through because I want to remember a point that I saw in the book.
Well, right now, what I do though, when I'm reading a book like that, I have like a notebook. So then depending on who it is, and then I just write key notes on the notebook, and then I could carry the notebook with me at all times. So this way I'll try to remember some references and all that. Another book I'm reading is called Rich Habits. It's by Tom Corley, and it's pretty much 10 principles of what the rich do to maintain their status, which is reading, networking, among other things. I don't want to bore everybody, but that's a good book. It's called Rich Habits, and it's 10 principles. I read that within 3 days. It's a short read, easy read, but it's just good fundamentals on daily habits. It basically, that's all it is daily habits. So those are my 2 books.
Perfect. I'll have to check that one out. That one sounds interesting, The Daily Habits.
Yeah, it's called Rich Habits by Tom Corley.
Okay. Well, this has been fun, guys. Thank you for having me on your segment here.
Eileen, before you go, I just wanted to ask you, for our listeners, where can they find you?
What do you recommend, Michelle? Should I say Twitter or whichever?
Wait a minute, is that a shot at me?
That they can find you quickly?
I think that's a shot at me, Michelle.
Twitter is, I like Twitter, so sorry, Willie, but I do. So that's one of the
I'm going to be honest. Back in 2009 when I started this whole venture with the website and getting into magazine publishing and that kind of thing, it was my son, having a teenage son, that got me into social media. I didn't like it at all because, I came up from the era where we weren't all stuck on the computers and stuff like that. And he was doing Twitter, and I don't know what happened, but he just got me really interested in Twitter, and it just became fascinating for me to be able to, 140 characters, say something 140 characters, and I grew my fan base, and then I ended up liking LinkedIn because I didn't really care for LinkedIn either, and then that became where I met some of my most fascinating people, professional athletes, A&B celebrities, public figures, and just some really great people out there. But what I was going to ask you was, your audience, I mean, are they looking to, because I get like consulting questions and things like that, which would be my website. They go to the website if that's what they're looking for, IleneCaroll.com. If they just want to follow me on social media, the best social media for me would be either LinkedIn or Twitter, which is just, everything is IleneCaroll.com or Ilene Caroll. So Twitter.com/IleneCaroll. Then if they want to check out my company, which is Ice Media Entertainment, they can go to icemediaent.com. ENT short for entertainment.
Okay, sounds good. And we're also going to include that in our show notes. So all of your contacts and where they can find you, whether it's social media or through your website, we'll also include that in our show notes. So that way they can always connect with you. And Willie, how can our listeners connect with us?
Well, before we do that, Michelle, I just wanted to talk to Eileen a little bit more, since we still got about 6 minutes left, about 5.5 minutes left before the show ends. Eileen, when you discovered, well, for lack of a better word, when you started using social media, because Michelle's always getting on me that about getting on social media and all that, and I started using LinkedIn and Facebook a lot. But was there a favorite that you used first? I know you said Twitter and LinkedIn. Let's say like videos, like YouTube. Like I love YouTube. Do you get on YouTube as much as you do on the other sites?
No, I'm bad. I connected with, before I got sick, like I said, I got sick 4 years ago, so I'm still trying to recover from all that. But before I got sick, I had a PR person tell me, she was like, you gotta, Eileen, you gotta make some videos, even if it's just one. That's something that I'm struggling with, that I know, I tell other people to do it, and I'm being bad. I'm not taking my own advice. I struggle with that. I don't know what it is. I'm just not, I came up during a time where I did some modeling, and I found that I didn't like it. I didn't like being in the camera. I didn't like, all that. I felt like it was, promoting vanity and that kind of thing, and so I just didn't like it. And so now as an adult, I'm struggling with photos and videos and things like that. So I do want to do more YouTube, because that is the way to go. It is people do like that. People are very visual when they want to see things, and maybe they want to look versus read or listen. But again, like you said, you're right. I did mention Twitter, but it was having a young child in the house. That's how I got into it, because I'm that generation, and I'm dealing with clients. The same thing. I just met with a lady who, her daughter was with us because she doesn't want to get on, and her daughter was trying to tell her, look, you've got to do this. This is how you promote your to go. And so you have people my age or older that struggle with that. So, but I know people for a fact that love YouTubing everything, like how to cook something, whatever. And so apparently that's the way to go. If you don't like social media, find some kind of way to, like me, get over being camera shy and do some YouTubes, because people of all ages go to YouTube for everything to find out how to do stuff.
Oh, no, I agree. So, on that note, we still got a couple of minutes left, but so for our followers and our listeners, you can find us at itunes.com, and click on Work Your Money and give us a review. Also, subscribe to the channel. That will help us. Also, you can find us at Facebook, Facebook.com/workyourmoney. And also, you can find us on Patreon.com and look for Work Your Money, where we could use a little help in promoting the show, among other things. So those are the three places you can find us: iTunes, Facebook, and Patreon. Pretty much that's it. I just want to thank Eileen for coming on the show, and also for taking a shot at me at Twitter, but that's all good. No problem.
You're welcome. I love you, and I know you love me. We're gonna be best of friends. Thank you for having me.
I make sure I'll block you on all my social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. In fact, I'm going to change my name this way you can't find me.
I'm coming right to you. I already know where you're at, so that's fine.
Oh, Lord. That's right. I forgot about that. Look, see, I gave myself up.
I'm going off frontal. We're not going to do social media. I'm going off frontal.
Sounds good to me.
You guys, oh my goodness.
That's right. You have to be that. You got to be a mediator now. So
Yeah, well, it's funny because social media keeps coming up consistently, and he's always like, oh, I'm not into social media. I don't know about social media.
No, but I get that, and that's why when he was asking me that, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch up. That's why, because I deal with so many people that are within a certain age bracket, and they're just not used to it. My mom, she's 81 years old. I get it. But she really has a time. She really has a time with it. But it's like, it's hard for people who didn't come up that way. When I was in school, we were doing DOS. You had the black screen. You didn't have Microsoft.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyhow, I'm sorry, Michelle. You were saying?
No, I'm just saying that overall, he was always a little skeptical about the whole social media, but everybody says the same thing. There's some type of degree of social media that you would have to utilize.
Well, I don't mind contacting people on social media. No, Michelle is right on that. I've done that. I've contacted people and all that. I think it's a great way to meet people. But in terms of putting myself out there, like on taking videos and all that, I'm like Eileen. I'm camera shy. So, but anyway, I guess that's for another discussion.
That's why I do that. That's the reason why I
Michelle,
do that.
How are you?
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. I like being in front of the camera, and it's not because I'm being conceited or being like whatever. It's just
she loves it.
A good way of communicating with the public.
No, she loves it.
I think he's trying to say you are conceited, Michelle.
Don't let that voice or whatever fool you. She's
whatever, Willie. Whatever, Willie.
Her last name is Her last name is Juan Kardashian.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
Do not put me with the Kardashians, please. Okay?
Well, anyway, on that note, Eileen, thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it. We got a lot of great tidbits on social media, among other things, also your charity and everything, and your digital magazine. So, Michelle, take us out.
Yes. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being a guest on our show. You're definitely going to be on another time where we discuss a little bit more of what you do in your business. So we'll have that as a discussion piece. And for our listeners out there, this is the Work and Money Podcast. Until the next time, have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.